On a remote island somewhere on this vast planet, a woman named Jen lies unconscious on the beach, wearing a life jacket. When she regains consciousness, she realizes her friend Brad is also unconscious beside her. In a panic, she rushes to his side, flipping him over, only to find a piece of coral embedded in his stomach. Brad is barely alive, but despite Jen's desperate cries for help, no one responds. She removes her backpack and life vest, dragging Brad further from the water and trying to tend to his wound by pressing her scarf against it. Sadly, Brad dies in her arms, leaving Jen heartbroken and alone. Jen, stranded on a small strip of beach surrounded by thick forest, walks in grief around the island, eventually returning to Brad's body. She ventures into the jungle and finds a bag hanging from a tree along with a red cooler. Inside the bag, she finds old medicine from 1994, realizing that whoever left it was long gone. Jen discovers a thermos, a small metal box, and an abandoned tent with a backpack. The backpack contains an old Game Boy, a car radio, a book, and a teddy bear. Returning to the beach, Jen hears a noise from a hollow tree and discovers a tropical bird inside. She collects leaves to cover Brad's body before realizing that all she is left with is sand and ocean. That night, a heavy rain forces Jen to shelter under a canopy of leaves. The next morning, she catches some small fish washed up on the beach but is disturbed by the sight of a dead shark split in half with strange marks on its body. She wonders what could have caused such wounds but struggles to clean the fish with a flat stone, eventually giving up. Later, while looking through her diary, Jen finds a photo of herself and her boyfriend Lucas from before the shipwreck. She ventures deeper into the jungle and stumbles upon a burial site with the remains of 3 people. Returning to the beach, she finds Brad's body has started to decay. She drags it into the forest, digging a shallow grave and marking it with a piece of wood bearing his initials. That night, Jen prepares her first meal alone on the island and spends the night in a makeshift shelter. The following day, while searching for more resources, she is horrified to find Brad's body has been removed from the grave, mutilated, and dragged away. Fearing the worst, she sharpens a piece of wood into a spear for protection and stays on high alert. Night falls again, and Jen remains vigilant, sensing that whatever took Brad's body might come for her next. The next day, Jen notices something in the distance, a floating bucket and suitcase. She dives into the ocean to investigate, finding a dark hole in the ocean bed. She drags the items back to the shore, where she discovers sneakers and clothes. That night, she changes into the new clothes and sifts through the contents of the metal box. Inside, she finds a secret compartment with photos of a family, one of which shows shining eyes in the distance that Jen believes belong to the monster. Later that night, Jen tries to signal an airplane with a flare, but the first attempt fails. On the second try, the flare shoots into the sky but brings no help. Instead, it reveals the creature lurking in the sea. Terrified, Jen runs for shelter, grabbing her weapon, and hides in the jungle, hoping the monster won't find her. The next day, she finds more clues, photos of a family, with the last photo showing a woman holding a bag near the tree where Jen had found the bag earlier. Jen realizes the island's dark history is tied to something far more sinister. As she continues her search for escape, Jen tries to fashion a raft from the life jackets and suitcase, but it doesn't work. That night, she uses the hollow tree as her shelter, keeping her weapon close. But when the monster arrives, it rolls the trunk with Jen inside. She remains quiet, praying it won't find her, and luckily, it leaves. Jen catches a small shark and uses it as bait for the creature, but it's taken again without any sign of her. Days pass, and Jen continues to survive, gathering supplies and growing stronger, though she remains haunted by the monster's presence. On the 6th night, Jen uses her sharpest tools to prepare for the creature's attack. After a brutal battle, she defeats the monster, stabbing it repeatedly until it collapses, lifeless. Exhausted, Jen decapitates the creature, taking its head with her as proof of the horrors on the island. She sets the island ablaze, a signal to anyone who might come across the wreckage. With the island now burning behind her, Jen limps toward the raft, determined to survive, no matter the cost. Please click the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.